Good morning everybody and welcome back into another video where today we are taking a look at a brand new custom set. It's been a while and this is Z00101 and this is actually weirdly going back to Tears of the Kingdom with the Depths Forest Mine, which is a concept that we talked about way back when we were designing the Tears of the Kingdom sets to expand the world of the depths and provide a sort of unique experience. And this one sort of latched onto my head. It was partially inspired by some comments by Cara Laura on the channel, and this is an 8+ model with 482 pieces. Now, before we take a look at all the individual models as well as the figures in this set, I do want to state that this is not retroactively fitting into the 18 set wave. This set has a unique numbering for a reason and would appear later after the Wave 8 models. Not that any of you particularly care about the specific details like that, but I wanted you to know that it does not affect the canon status of those sets and is a later release alongside everything. The main gimmick of this is obviously to expand the various different depths setup. There was a concept that I had a while ago that was to do with bringing the mines, specifically the Akala spiral setup that appears in the depths over in the east of Akala and the Wrist Peninsula. And I wanted to bring this into real life because I think that that archway is quite enigmatic. It felt very Lego-y to me. And we mixed this with the concept of having the different trees and different resources of the depths. So in theory, this works like a plant battle pack. Now, we're not calling it a battle pack because obviously it's not. But yes, mock builders could indeed buy multiple copies of these to get some really nice part selections, but also to expand the forests. And this would go with the Master Kohga battle set, which was the small car one. This would also go with the frox mining encounter set, as well as with the Yiga clan depths base as well, which is particularly of highlight. And we're going to be taking a look at combining all this together along with Ultra and Creativity Toolbox, which allows you to create some zoanite creations to really create the ultimate Zelda depth. And I really do think this fills a gap. It's a very unique set in that regard. It's not something that I would necessarily expect to see in a real product portfolio. However, they've done stuff like this before. It isn't completely out there, and I quite like the dual use. Also, not to mention, I think it's just a fun playset as well because you can clamber all over the trees. Of course, everything is sort of desperate here. It's very different kind of objects going on. So let's look at it one by one and break it down like it's a true playset. We're actually going to start today by just taking a quick look at the figure selection. And first up for that is the Archaic Tunic Link. Now, this is by no means a new figure. This is the same one that appeared in set 70074, the Great Sky Island, and he has his wonderful green arm printing, as well as one arm that's of course been rarified, and he's got these legs with the tunic that printing that goes down onto it. He looks a little different, of course, from my purist version of this figure. However, I still really like how this one's drawn. The more official Lego Zelda sets we get, the worse these drawings look, but you just have to bear with me on these. This is an old one, and I'm using the same hairpiece that we designed for the Wave 8 of the custom set showcase, with the hair more slicked back for the sky outfits. So this was used on the Archaic set, as well as on stuff like the Glide set and so on, and features his ears down the side and a little stern expression for him. Then on the rest of the figures, we have a Lynel. Now, this technically marks the first time you guys are seeing Lynels in the custom set showcase. I know we designed them for the compendium a while back, and technically their first canon appearance will be in Wave 5. But because we're doing things out of order, this is the first time you've seen this. And we're using the Centaur body that was introduced in 2020, 2021, I want to say, for the Lego Harry Potter line, and since appeared in other collectible minifigures and other places. Ironically, given that it's now been 6 years, this part is now out of production. However, that doesn't make a difference here because this set would have released around 2025, and obviously it's worth bringing the piece back, and it would be in circulation for Lego Zelda stuff. On the front of it, we have a little bit of printing in the form of the metal, and then this goes into a normal minifigure torso, which has some scar printing on the arms. Obviously, we realize that arm printing is pretty unrealistic, but it really does quite add a lot to this figure. And then, of course, we have the headpiece. Now, this is an interesting one because this follows the same pattern that we've seen with the Lizalfos and the Bokoblin, where it is a mask over a minifigure head, and this is so that this head build can be reused for Kilton masks in the future and also can fit on minifigures. The horns are, of course, removable, but you will notice that we are using the Breath of the Wild Lynel horns because, unlike the other ones, they were never bothered to do the variants on this because they just weren't showing up in as many sets, and that's why it's taken so long for us to get a Lynel. There are a couple of different weapons in the set that you could give to them, but beyond that, this is about as good as it gets. Additionally, we also have the mini frox. You just get one of them in this set, and that is, of course, great because you need more of them. There are 3 included in the frox mining encounter, so I'm really pleased that I was able to sort of blur those parts together. The Lego Minecraft line and their way they treat mobs kind of is an inspiration for some of the designs we do in the custom set showcase, and this was very much inspired by the silverfish. It's a one-piece mold with room for a 1x1 stud on its back, and I just think that getting more of these is absolutely a necessity and a must-have. So I think, yeah, it's a really great addition. And then we also have the Evermean, which rounds out the brick built characters and is a true delight to have included included in this set because it didn't manage to make it in anywhere else, and of course it is technically the fourth different tree type that we have here in the depths. Speaking of tree types, let's take a look at the two that are standalone. We have the puffshroom tree, which is the one with the big sort of mushroom-like leaves. You can see we've used dark tan as a colour, and you may be wondering how I've gotten away with so many recolours, and that is because I spread out this recolour budget over, of course, my Divine Biz microfighters, meaning that a lot of these parts have actually already come in dark tan in my universe, and of course, dark tan as a Lego colour is expanding almost every week. But also, because we already had the Yiga clan depth-based set, a lot of these parts for these trees have actually already been recoloured for that model as well. So we're just spreading the load and allowing us to get some more done here. And you'll notice a lot of familiarity with some of the foliage, and honestly even the trees, because we did have these mushroom trees in that set. We also had the fern tree that we're going to take a look at later. But this is the puffshroom one. Underneath the big dishes, you can see we've got these various different plant pieces in tan hanging down, as well as these red lights, and then a big gnarly trunk that comes down to a base as well. One of the interesting things about the trees in this set is that all three of the tops are switchable and can be rearranged, allowing you to sort of mix and match some of the trees, which I think is quite interesting, just to sort of mess with the shapes. They are also in theory swappable with the ones in the Depth Yiga clan base, but again, I'm not going to talk about that today. At the base, we've got all the knobbly roots, as this tree is sort of has some aerial roots that are all wobbling all over the place, and you can see the two pushrooms down the bottom as well, using the BB9 head in tan, and then the 2x2 round dish in dark pink. There are also these underwater, like mycelial looking tendrils. Again, these were the details we brought over from the depth space attack. Additionally, it's also worth noting that this set is packed with poe flames. You will see the small ones, the big fire pieces for the medium ones, and then in pink we also have this large poe, and this is sat on the pillar, which is the first of our depth mine element. It's a really simple build that's just sat on hinges and has a little bit of foliage around the bottom, but I really like how it's shaped, and I think again, if you bought multiples of this set, these are the very pillars that obviously surround the Master Kohga arena, but also all over the mines, and I just really love the angle, and I think it makes the gateway feel less like just a gateway and really sort of expands that scene, which I'm quite pleased with. I also love that we've got this inversion connection up here, and of course you could attach the poes. It is worth noting that there are other spots on the model where you could attach this to move the poes around, and actually if we jump on over to the next tree, which is the bomb flower tree, you will notice that on one of the top leaves I've deliberately left a jumper stud here. Now this is obviously for a poe, but it just means you can pose minifigures up here or switch various different things out. Honestly, put whatever you want up here, and I think that sort of cross compatibility is also pretty important. For this tree as a whole, it's a lot more simpler. It is a stack of bricks on some slopes at the bottom. The foliage is a little bit more all over the place, making great use of new fern pieces, both in aqua, and then of course the bigger one in dark green as well. You've got the two bombs around the roots, and there's this one root that's spiraling out with an elephant trunk, and this was quite an interesting tree to capture. It has these sort of pattern of three main leaves. The top three are sandwiched together using a little bit of, well, not snot, but above and below connections to make them strong enough, because you want to be able to pose minifigures on them without this tree completely collapsing. And there's a couple more poes around, with the medium poe being on the top of smaller leaves, which definitely would be more fragile. And then the tree sort of spirals out into this animal horn, which makes it look all wispy, like it might still be growing. So I quite like this one. It's my least favourite of the trees in the set. However, I still think it has its place and has some much needed height to the model as well. As far as independent builds go, we also have this small minecart side build. These do appear in the games, but obviously they're not stuff you can necessarily always interact with. I mean, there are the ones on the roller coaster tracks, but I had to get a little feature in here. So if you tilt the little handle on the back here, you can rock the cart, which is on a loose connection, and it will stop, and you can drop the mop and the shovel that are included in this model. And of course it has wheels, so it can roll as well, but it's really cute. I love that it can actually do the little rocking backwards and forwards. I think that's so much fun, and this is something that would be an absolute hit with kids as well. And then we have the main section. On the front side, we've actually got this snot technique to attach the upside down archway along the top here. Obviously, it's a little bit more of an advanced technique, but the effect it gets is well worth it. It gives us that zoanite teeth look underneath. We've got two of the Ninjago fences out at the front to recreate some of the more ornate details there. And on the ground around it, you can see some more poes, some more of the small foliage. There's a model bird off to the right, because this is the model bird tree. And then we've got a gloom patch, as well as, just a little bit of space behind the railings as well. Quickly, before we talk about the tree, then let's go through to the other side of the arch. On one side, you've got another railing with a bright bloom, so someone's been here exploring, and there's a treasure chest here which contains 2 zoanite cubes. And then on the other side, of course, is the rock which you can mine for the zoanite as well, so really trying to get that mining kind of aesthetic going. And then, of course, this is connected to the side where we have the muddlebud tree. This is another one that's that's removable, of course, just pop out its top bit. The base is really simple with around 2x bricks, and then you've got these sort of angled Technic assemblies which build up to the fern leaves, which is the design I ripped straight over from the Yi clan base, as we were talking about earlier. This time though, it appears in a teal and dark blue color scheme, but also a dark green and sand green color scheme as well. And this is just a simple two-sided snot build around the 1x1 with a washing machine. I don't remember, they call it different names. And then you've got the bar clips on the end to be the ferns. It was a really difficult shape to capture, but again, having more examples of his trees, having more color variants was all great. And of course that extends to the evermean, which has again a very simple design. Obviously you've got the 3 roots here, so in fact you can sort of angle them downwards so they're flat on the floor, or raise them up like they are in this image so it can actually walk on those 3 legs. It would be very unstable, but you know, it's an option for play. And then at the top, all of the leaves are on hinges, so you can angle one down to sort of smack away at any minifigures. I quite like that we've taken the sand green leaves and accented them with the sort of sand blue like triangle pieces. I think that creates that peacock look, because the depths trees tend to like sort of have these wispy peacock like feathers, and that translates really well over here as well. So overall I'm quite happy with how that turned out, and there is a stud in the middle for you to attach whatever. Maybe that's the reward for defeating it, or just to have a minifigure posed in the branches as well, which I think is super important. But yeah, quite a customizable set. Let's quickly show you guys what is possible when you bring all of your depth models together. Firstly, of course, with one set you can rearrange them into different orders, create your sort of own forest, and then with a couple of sets, and here you can see we've combined it, and it looks like a mess. Trust me, I know it looks like a mess, but you can see we've got, I think, 2 or 3 copies of the forest here. I love particularly the evermean grove in the middle here, where you've got the 3 of them, because they do appear in these groves together. Of course, you could move the chests out from say the ruins and actually have a chest in here for one of the armor pieces. But you'll also notice the kohga car off to the right, again fleshing out that mine scene with the steward construct rack and so on. And then towards the back we have more of a foresty area, so we're using more of the trees. You can see the frox mining encounter little display with the mushroom trees as well, which adds some nice variety, and then the frox is lurking in the back. And then over to the right we head more into the yiga base. You can see the contraptions with Ultra and Creativity toolbox, and then over to the far right we've got the other 2 mine segments, which are set up as the Rift Peninsula spiral, because you go through these arches in quick succession. And yeah, okay, like obviously this is messy, right? Like I know it's really hard to pass what's going on, but just imagine it on your floor, or if someone with an actual composition skills went at it, this really does flesh it out. And it's honestly, I don't know, you guys tell me if you disagree, but does it start to feel like a catalogue image in a way? I kind of think that there's a little bit of catalogue image there. And I also really like that you can almost biome create using the different forests. Specifically, we talked about the evermeans, but also the clustering of the mushroom trees, but also the bonflower trees around the frox as well, make it feel like that's a unique environment. So yeah, this is a messy render, and for that I apologize, but I actually do quite like it, and it starts to feel very catalogue-y and world-like to me. And obviously I love it when you can bring different sets together and really flesh out your world, and that's why, or another reason why I would love a playset theme is because yeah, if this set existed, of course I'd buy like 3 or 4 of them. One, because the parts would be incredible, because we don't get much in those sand tones, but because yeah, it's designed to be expanded upon, and that's how they get you. Well, one last thing to watch out then is in the mine setup, I didn't notice it, is I've got the pillars over there. So all 3 of the pillars, like I said, surrounding the kohga fight, like you get the central mine. So I love that, obviously I was going for the Rift Peninsula, but I've also been able to recreate effectively the central mine with the steward construct and the mining setup, the kohga arena, and then the minecarts really flesh things out. Their scenery, I really like them, and I would hope that city or fantasy builders would also appreciate that along those lines. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick look at Z0101. That's going to take a while getting used to. The first custom set since Z0100, and one that I have been sat on for quite a while. Obviously, we'll continue to work on Wave 5, but in the meantime, please continue to be patient, as these things take a while to design, even the small ones like this, which I have a lot of love for. And let me know what you think of this set, and I guess our first post-humorous addition to the Tears of the Kingdom lineup. I don't have many of these planned. I'm pretty confident I covered most of the game with the full 18 sets. And if for some reason you haven't seen them, or if you're just craving going back to those 18 models, of course you can check out the full showcase recaps down below as well, as they are wonderful. I want these, I want them all, but these guys specifically I would love to have a depth setup. Yiga clan is a great one for that as well, and of course the frox, which we've tested in the past as well. I'm going to stop rambling. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.